Hey everyone, I've just got an art journal scrapbook layout here for you today, and I didn't really have anything in mind to begin with, but I started by putting some blue paint through a stencil, as you can see, to make those stars, and I'm just smushing on with my palette knife some black acrylic paint. So I didn't even have any photo picked out, I just started creating and wanted to see where it would take me, and luckily, it all worked out pretty good in my eyes. Anyway, it's a good addition to one of my albums. So just getting it on there, not being too perfect or anything, just giving it some texture, and it all adds to the background. So make sure you clean your things as you go, and otherwise things dry onto it too much, like your palette knife will get stuck with paint and modelling paste. It won't be able to use it after a while. So now I'm just using a wipe and paper towel just to smudge off some of that paint, just so that it's not so thick and that you can see those stars behind it. Using my heat gun to dry it. So a good trick is that dry it, don't hold your heat gun in one spot, obviously, because it'll burn, and making sure you do the back, because sometimes it's quite thick and the back is wetter than the front, if that makes sense, because it dries from the top. Anyway, what else am I going to do to it? So I just got out, just pretty much picked all my blue acrylic paints, and I've just put a little bit on my mat. Now I've just got, this mat is just an IKEA desk mat and nothing fancy, but if you clean it up it ain't too bad. If you don't, as you can see, my background can be pretty messy. So I'm just using my palette knife again, and I'm mixing the colours together after using a bit by itself. And I'm just blobbing on the paint just to give it some 3D kind of texture. So it was two types of blues, and then I added some black to one of the blue, just to make it a darker blue. Must have some colour up the top by look of where I was moving. Yeah, there I'm going, wiping it off. Now getting out my black distressed ink, because pretty much anything that was black and blue in my mixed media shelves, it was used. So putting on some ink splatters, we all know how to do that, it's quite common. And some gold hiney shine, just for some added texture. I was thinking it's starting to look a bit like a night sky kind of a theme, so added on some gold for some texture. So I'm just using my stencil, and I just sprayed on my black mist. It didn't work that well because the dots were quite small and the ink was quite dark. Not quite dark, quite liquidy. So I've just used my wipe to smudge it around and make a layer, and you can see some of the dots. It adds some darkness to... Oh, sorry. Mustn't have worked on something else, and I've done it again. So there. You can see that it works, but not fantastically. So if you want it perfect on a background, don't worry about doing this kind of thing. But if you want it for an art journal-y kind of a look, it looks pretty cool. So as you can see, I'm just using paper towel to wipe off the stencil to clean it. Wiping my desk again. So this is my water in my spray mist bottle. Just flicking it on there to see, and I'm drying in between my layers, and pulling up that water just to give it some pull off the colour. So I had this in my stash. It's some silver kind of it's like a tulle kind of a lace kind of thing. It just got it from the cheap shop. And I'm just going to double it up there as some layers behind it, and some black card. Just ripping off the bottom so that it's not so, you don't want everything perfect looking when you're doing an art journal-y kind of a page or an art journal page. It's all about the texture in the process, and roughness adds texture, colour and background and layers add texture, and all different mediums. It all adds together. So on it goes with some black card, and I've got paint and things all over my paper, all over my fingers, of course. And I found that I was lucky that I had two different types of blue tissue paper in my stash. Surprising what you find when you look for it. So adding quite a few layers of tissue paper as texture. Underneath the black there, some of the brighter blue, but it's still dark. It's not light blue or anything. Actually, I'll probably have more blue in my stash because I have light blue as well, like a baby blue colour. So just trimming them down as I feel. I'm trimmed the top layer down smaller than the back layer, just to add, so you can see the different layers as well. Adds another step in the layer. And I'm fighting with my double-sided tape, so I give up and use my Tombow glue. And on it goes to some vellum. And the tissue layers pull apart, so on they go again. glue, glue, glue. It's the things that hold it all together. So, and I got some on my photo there, so I'm just using a wipe and then some paper towel to dry it. The good thing about printing on a selfie printer is it's quite hardy, and I can just wipe off any excess as long as I get to it before it dries, without ruining the photo, which is pretty awesome. And also the other bonus is that you get to print from home at your own convenience. So on goes some foam, obviously not yellow layer because that would be very contrasty. Put on some glue. I probably should have stapled on that mesh, but the glue is holding it because I put all the layers and glue those as well. So it holds it in, holds it down. But yeah, normally I would, if it was some kind of lace or tulle or anything like this, I normally staple it down because you can't see the staples unless I add it to the side as a feature. Wiping my hands again because why not? I think my layout wasn't 100% dry. So I'm using some black washi tape and I just rip it in half to add a bit of a jagged line. Again, that adds different texture. One on each side. Well, not on one each side, one on two of the sides. And get some more washi. I think it's a different one. Is it a spotty one? Or maybe I just added in different layer spots. Can't really see my editing screen. Got some black, they actually really, I thought, oh, what thickers am I going to go? What's going to go with this? So they're actually got some glitter and I'm just sticking them on a piece of old packaging, some plastic. And I cut the side of my thickers rather than the bottom so that I can either slide it out easily and put it back in easy, or I just put my hand in like I am now. So and then the beauty of laying on the plastic there is I can see where I want to put it before I stick it down. And I do spare you watching me use the Tombow glue to stick it down because it's very tedious. Wow, I'm not talking that great. Out some distress blue distress paint and it's like a palette knife, but the end of it is the die pick from Kaisercraft. Just smooshing it around my layers as well as flicking it on the screen. Well, if I had, I probably could have, but it's just smooshing it around the layer onto the layers to make it blend in, and the blobs on the page being flicked onto it. Oh, I'm so sorry if this doesn't make sense. Ask a question down below if you need any clarification. So I've just put on some black and I've sprayed some black paint there and I've added some water just to make it a bit thinner. So on it goes again, using it for layers, smooshing it with my finger. So this is why my fingers end up very dirty, because it's like finger painting for me. It adds different layers of texture and a different interest. But here's the end picture and the end result. I hope you liked watching it, and thanks for watching, and come back again. Enjoy. Thank you.